Sharp noises are heard better than quiet noises, and guys like Limbaugh and O'Reilly and Ann Coulter, they know they say the most outrageous things that's going to get picked up, and they will rivet the attention of their audience, which tends to be a conservative audience.
What works on cable seems to be big, broad personalities doing opinion.
Why? Listen, cut his mic.
Listen, Chad, stop,
Chad. Not about the kid, it's about you, Jamie. Let's go. Okay, thank you, Jamie.
About me, I'm doing, yes.
Good night.
So you have an Overman or a Dobbs or an O'Reilly, they do pretty well. Straight news shows, except in times of big breaking news, don't do quite as well.
I think they're doing two things. I think one of the reasons that Limbaugh and O'Reilly are so successful is they're very good entertainers. They're good at what they do. They are good performers. They're not news people. They're not. I wouldn't call them journalists. I mean, but they are good performers, and people like the performance. Now, a lot of people who obviously also like the politics and share, that, and love to see Limbaugh put down, left-wing liberals, as he calls them, or whatever. But essentially, they would not succeed if they were just on a soapbox. They wouldn't succeed unless they were good performers, and they are.
People come to O'Reilly, they come to Hannity, and they know what they're getting. They get it. It's either exist to support a worldview they already have. That's really it. But they're not in the mind-changing business. It's good entertainment to people, and that's how I think people see it.
So, I mean, demagoguery has worked throughout history, and it certainly works in Ann Coulter's case. I mean, I find it hard to watch or listen to a lot of that stuff. And by the way, the same thing happens on the left, though they don't have the same megaphone that the right does. But it's, I mean, I would much rather listen to a reasoned discussion rather than the shout fest. And increasingly on cable news or on Limbaugh, you're listening to a shout fest. I mean, Ann Coulter knows that when she goes on Today's Show, she's trying to say the most outrageous thing possible to jack up sales of her books. That's what she does. And so she's, in a way, she's a performer, not a commentator.
There is diversity of opinion on Fox News. You may disagree with that. We have many liberals there, many liberal invited. We have liberal commentators, as we have conservative ones.
Who are your liberal commentators?
Alan Combs, for one. Greta Van Susteren.
Fox has a stunt where they say fair and balanced. And oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes Fox is not fair and balanced. It's a kind of a marketing gimmick. But I think that most of the stories that appear in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post and many other newspapers, that journalist who's writing that story is trying hard to be fair and balanced. Objective is a false god. I mean, you're a human being, it's hard to be objective, but you can be fair. That's not a false god.
Just a few years ago, Newt Gingrich was trying to reduce or eliminate $300 million that went for PBS because he thought PBS was too liberal. Now the liberals believe that Fox News is too conservative. So in the fragmentation of media in the marketplace, what has happened is that Fox is conservative, PBS may be liberal identified, but the large networks aren't necessarily forthcoming about their bias. They still try and at least represent themselves to go down the middle. What they more likely are identified with is sort of an identification with the establishment, with the status quo. At least that's what the viewers tell us, that as a cable documentarian, well, at least you do give us the truth, an honest view of some of these issues that doesn't happen to be the establishment.
It's one of my favorite stories in life, but it was on April 1st, April Fool's Day, and there's a right-wing media site that does among other things. I mean, every day they put up the most egregious liberal biases of the day. And on this day, on April Fool's Day, they just make it up. They just make it up. And they say we're making it up, okay? I get a letter from, or an email from a woman just screaming at me, all caps about how horrible I am because she read this thing that I had said on this website and yada, yada, yada. And I wrote back and said, if you actually read it, you'll see they made that up. That's an April Fool's joke. And she went back, she said, okay, I was wrong, but you're still a jerk. Most people are not that gullible. Most people, I believe, understand the difference between fact and opinion. The danger is not, in my view, that they don't understand the difference between fact and opinion. It is that fact tends to be less sexy, less fun, less engaging than somebody telling somebody else to shut up.